Welcome to the Basel Lower Up podcast. This is episode 2. Today we're speaking with Sharon from House of Soca, as well as Ryan and Scott from Stained Experience. You can look forward to this podcast on YouTube, as well as Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So we're going to jump right into it. Today, on our second episode of the podcast, we're here with Sharon from C.O. Williams House of Soca.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure being here. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course, of course. So I want to talk about all of House of Soca for Crop Over 2026. Let's start with this season and what you have planned, and then I want to explore the history of House of Soca and how long you've been doing it. I also want to explore the history of the tents and the importance of the tents, and I guess basically why Bajans should understand how to get involved and how it's involved in artist development. Just all the stuff that we've been talking about.
Not a problem. This is second episode, so we can probably do episode 2, 3, 4, and maybe finish by 5.
Maybe finish by 5 exactly.
All right. Well, the season for me started last week. We did a launch. It was called Soca Unplugged.
Mm-hmm.
And Soca Unplugged was something that Gorg came to me because he's in the tent as well. And people don't know all these people that have affiliations with
There we
the
go.
tent.
There we
So
go.
big man Gorg Superlinks,
Yeah.
he came and he said, let's do, and this was all for the COVID time, something called Soca Unplugged. So Soca, but we want to bring it to young people. So we got to fuse the kind of different genres.
Yeah.
So what we did last week, you had Mo doing birds with jazz. So you imagine,
Yeah.
a youngster you wingo coco.
Yeah.
But in a jazz
in a
beat.
jazz format, yes.
So Rule wrote his own song, Superstar, and it's a message. It's a message that not everybody's accepted. So he did that in R&B. And that was well received. Actually, the next day, he did it for Mishron for her book launch.
Yes.
So it was beautiful. It was beautifully done. We had Yannick doing Barbados, the rock, my home. This sweet Barbados, and he did that with a reggae beat. So we started with Soca Unplugged. I can't forget Diane. She did her social commentary Love Affair in R&B, and so did Mr. Showman. So if you hear Love Struck from this year in and the cozy lights.
Yeah.
It was really a nice. So we started last week. That was more or less for media and sponsors. And we kick off on Sunday. Derek Smith is a 30-member cast and a 19 junior development program sponsored by COB. And that development program kind of lends to, they are the next generation, but the now generation is who we're looking at. And people say no generation, well, the likes of King Kwan, Popsicle, Billboard, Doyen, Ruel. There's so many more. There's Faith Calendar, Sugaree, Peter Ram, Ramesses Brown. If I keep calling, if I don't leave out some, they're going to get vexed.
They can get a vet. Exactly, yeah.
O'Neill. But these folks have been honing their craft for a number of years. And we don't just start now. We do a lot of historic work. So in January to February, we go on down to Trinidad. People say, why go to Trinidad? But we don't have the cultural development unless you're going to the university level here. But while in Trinidad, you can get that rich culture. From the time you step off the plane, you feel your intent land. Everybody there, you meet the gypsies and the Brian Londons and the all-rounders, and they make you feel that you can have confidence and be able to express yourself on stage. And that's what it's about developing. So last year, Billboard rounds one songwriter of the festival, having written for Blood. And that is what we're looking at. When we go down south and we sit down and we watching our semifinals, or you're at the Mardi Gras, and you're looking and you're seeing Terry Lyons talking about it's a blessing, and you're getting cold bumps. That is the experience that we bring to the cast, and that is why we try to envelop and develop our cast to break a brighter show each and every year.
Because I like that it isn't static. Like you don't just say, okay, we've done this and we've reached this pinnacle and that's it. And then you keep circling that and you say, well, we've, and you kind of plateau without realizing that you step outside. I know people say, oh, well, you're going out Trinidad for, but it's like, I want to see what I can learn from other cultures. Because it's like, it is really when you look at soca, when you look at social commentary, calypso, all these are a type of pan-Caribbean type things.
Indeed.
So it's like, it's not coming to say, oh, the Trinity's doing it, so let me do it. It's like, what can I learn here? What can I see here? How can I develop here?
And not only about learning as well, because we share, one thing that they say to me at Classic Russo in Trinidad, they say, listen, Sharon, you guys organize tent life backstage and a little different. Because Trinidad just tell you, come man, come, let me beat two things, let me go. Rehearsal start. But we would talk about the organization. We talk about a benchmark. We look at certain standards. Trinidad and thing they got, it seems like it's embedded in them.
Yeah.
It's embedded in us too, but we would bring a little bit more flair sometimes to it. So it's a two-way street, a win-win, two hands to clap.
Yeah.
So we learning from them learning from us.
True.
It really is a sweet, sweet marriage and a relationship that we've built.
I like that. I really do like that. As you say, it's that cross-cultural, that exchange. And as you say, they're learning from us too as well. So there is really, you call a lot of names, and a lot of those names I've also seen on the list for Party Monarch, whether Sweet Soca or the Power Soca. And I think it's impressive. Again, people don't understand the amount of work that comes out from tents, the amount of people that come out from under a tent. Like, an artist isn't just normally thrust into the spotlight, or it just doesn't just appear. Mr. Showman, he won. Did he win Junior Monarch last year?
Last year and the year before. The year before, 2024, 2025. This year, hoping for a hat trick. 2026.
Yeah.
We keep fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But you're so right, because those persons have. Now, I go back a little further, maybe digressing, but everything's still involved. If you are going to enter, where are you going to practice or try to perform before you get to that Party Monarch or Sweet Soca stage?
All right, it's like, let's say I'm brand new artist, I jump out. How do I know to organize a rehearsal? Like, who teaches me that? Where do I go? I want a pianist. I want this. I want a live band. I want to hear how my sounds on a live band. Who does that?
And you're so correct, because a track now and a live band, sometimes you can't even keep up. That is why some people say two different things. And then it's about, you may also be a person that can work in the studio, but you may not be a performer.
But that live band started hitting.
That live band, even your interaction with the crowd, because now we looking at competition. You move in this crowd, crowd performance is
another factor.
So if you're not in a tent, we outside of NIFCA, or you didn't go to community college here to do the associate degree program, they're much more in Barbados that you got. They may get effect, but again, you only get that effect if the DJ play your music. So it's another domino effect.
You get one fact here, and knowing this one fact, you have to learn everything. You gotta learn. Yeah. They may have a band, they may have a track. Am I moving the crowd? Crowd responding to me, only this body over here. You have to learn and grow from. That's a one fact. When the next
exactly that performance,
that may be me, and then the next one you got is in July. Where does the growth, where does the rehearsal occur in that space of time? So
I tell people that the tents, there's almost like a platform for development, even though we don't all say that we have a development issue or program, but it is. If I look at even the first tent that opened, there was some judgment in that performance. Now, from that, some people criticize, some people enjoyed it, but they are going to learn from that performance, because the next week they come back, they're going to be somebody up front, no, and them front row posse, they're going to say, listen, for my money, you better perform properly.
Listen, yeah.
And so from that, you will gain something, you would learn something, and you probably develop your craft. Or you may decide, listen, I'm only a writer, this ain't for me.
There we go. You could say, you know what? I thought I don't want to be in front. I want to be on the back end. I can write for this body. I can write for Peter Ryan. I can write for Blood. I got a song for you. I just singing it. I can let you hear, but I feel that this is for you. So you don't know how and where. And it's like, it's so funny you say that, because I do have a friend who's very much into music, and he's like, it's like he has no outlet of where to put it, it's like of where to go. And it's like, you could go into songwriting, you could go into arrangement, and that in and of itself is another conversation about the musicality of the season.
Indeed.
Because under a tent, you're able to, because I find that there's a lack of musical appreciation in the season. The same way we talk about like band, like you're arranging the song differently at the end because you want it to hit with people, you want it to have a different setup. People don't have that ear for music anymore.
That's true. And what you may hear a lot on these by a DJ, and it's no fault of theirs, is the rhythms. So a rhythm is 6 or 7 of us on the same rhythm. And as you say, the musicality may not come in there unless I bring something. The most that you can get different is lyrics.
Yeah.
you may get a little bit, but it's a rhythm.
Yeah.
So the way that you will get that is from a live band. You'll get that in a tent. You can add, you start to meet arrangers. You start to meet so many other components. And you mentioned something earlier. You know that a lot of people just decide, I can sing. And then tell me, get scores. They say, what scores? Then they say to them, get an arranger. What's an arranger? They know a producer. Maybe in the studio. But so it's a learning process.
The learning process.
And everybody is not able, as I said before, to go to community college, do the music program, do the theater arts program. So somebody out there has to show you, because this competition, the way it's going to be judged now, you have to perform. So your track is going to play, but the people are going to say, why are there only maybe the regular eights or the chosen few, as they say? But it isn't that. Those are the people that understand the craft. And you may not understand, but each person that in that frame, the Mikeys, the Edwins, the Moles, the Quans, the Bruce, are all in tents. They're in different tents. But Peter Rams, the Rick is in House of Soca. Mm-hmm. Peter Ram is in House of Soca. Mole, Bruce, Quan, they're all in tents. So Mikey's in Big Show. So Edwin too. So, Grateful Core, it's in All Stars. So when these guys progress, it ain't just their natural thing. It's the ability to be able to correspond and talk to audiences week after week by being in a tent.
Being in a tent. And that's what people don't understand. I think there's just a lack of appreciation. This is a conversation we're having off camera, that there is a lack of understanding of the way that things work, the way that the people that you meet in the tent, and the understanding that younger Bajans have with the culture too as well, and the way that the culture operates and the way that it works. It's like there's a constant conversation that culture is being lost, but I think it's a two-way street. It's like, yes, it's being lost, but people are not teaching you, but you're also not leaning in. So you're not understanding. So you're not coming out to a tent. You don't know how a tent functions. You don't know how it operates. You don't know the purpose of it. So because you don't know, it's easy to dismiss it and not understand that tents are integral to the core of the season.
They are indeed. And my thing about us losing our culture, sometimes it is, and I don't want to get too, as I was using the word political here, yes. But honestly, the players at the top, I work on a hotel circuit. Nobody ever know. I MC many shows. But I'm selective. I don't do. I won't call the hotels I work at, but I do. But I'm selective. But sometimes I say no, because if I'm working with a fire eater and I realize that your musical base is not Caribbean, and it doesn't have to be Bajan, but I say Caribbean, I may say, I ain't doing that show next week. Because that's me. You confuse, because lots of things that I said with Unplug is a beat. So you can take some of our Caribbean music and bring it. I come to Barbados. I ain't come to hear pop. Spend all my money going to Barbados. Exactly. I come for sea sand and good cultural music and some food. And I don't want a hot dog. Yeah. I want fish cake.
I want fish. There we go.
So that's the thing. So the same thing about how we see life and how we are with the tents. So as you said, people dismiss the tents.
Yes.
And they get on the different radio and different medias and say, oh, tents don't exist.
Tents, they don't serve any purpose.
They don't serve any purpose.
I don't understand what a tent is. A tent this is back. Then we move past this, our social commentary gone. And it's like...
But even in the schools, we had a lovely junior system going. We have the junior competitions. Yes, I like that. But in the schools, we had this junior system where Vauxhall Primary, Shirley Chisholm, yeah. I'll get the correct name.
Yes.
Blackmon and Gollop, Hilda Skeen, those schools were doing those competitions, and they seem to be fading away. What is the music program doing in the education system? We got to look at that. Because if those children are encouraged to write, and they're encouraged to express themselves, everybody ain't going to be a singer, but somebody going to be another podcast presenter, MC, some things, a world leader. We got to learn to speak.
Exactly.
So we have to bring back those moments. And I don't know if we are lost because our crop over is at the same time of school vacation, July, August. But you see in Trinidad, when we go down in February, if I said to a child, who's singing, Tell Me Too Young to Soca, everybody said, Mash.
Yeah.
They are in it. But if I said that to somebody here, I say, who sings How Many More in Barbados? Some company saying,
Well,
That's a Mr. Sherman song.
Yeah.
That's Pawn. That's it. But they ain't gonna know that it belongs to John King.
Mhm.
We don't do enough research in our education system. So maybe we need to do that because culture is us.
Yes.
It is who we are. It is in the foods that we eat. I mean, you ask a child, let me digress now, what is the national dish?
Mhm.
I ain't saying everybody got to learn to stir cuckoo, but I'm saying that at least we got to be
You have
educated
to
about
have
it.
a knowledge about it.
So that is where the text come in. It gives you a knowledge. It gives you a feeling that you know what is going on. You know who's who in the players in the industry. Because kudos to the new people in the industry, the Master T's and the Jordan Englishes and the Dojiers that are coming up now. But Dojier first partnered with Quan just after he won the king. And so Dojier very much understands. He passes through the tent. He very much understands what tent life is like. It may not be for everybody at the same point in time, but if you have a knowledge of it and an understanding, when you go out there to deliver, then you know how to dress too. Because we're looking at time and place.
There we go. It's so many aspects of artist development. So everybody would not be, let's say, a Jordan English or Master T, where it's like you do the music, you have the innate ability, you have in some instances also the right conditions, combinate, same things that shoots you to the top. Sometimes it's like with all of us, you need somebody to say, okay, this is how you dress. This is how you interact with the crowds. This is the music that you listen for. This is how you speak. This is how you perform. This is how you work a stage, that type of thing. And there's that entire artist development. There's you have a arranger, you have the producer to speak with. It's not just the studio, it's not just the beat. And that's why you find some artists, I hear a lot of music and people just putting out songs where you just think you get in the studio and you think on the mic and you can't find the beat. So the music all over the place.
So let me go for Marshall. You got to get in performance. So the only way you do that is in a tent. So he has another line in this song. It says, backstage is where artists are born.
Yes, exactly.
So backstage is backstage in the tents where artists are born. Because when you got that big show and you doing that big event, be it Tipsy or Rise or Soca on the Hill, you can't really start to hone your craft there. That's where you're going to bring up that performance.
That's what exactly you
so the tents now, each and every night and each and every week, every Sunday and Saturdays that we open, that's where you gonna make yourself a legend. You're gonna create who you are and what you bring into the public. And sometimes we even gotta look at the fact that little things that I would say to them, create yourself as that icon. Because when you can't be a singer and I pay to come and see you look. And then I see you up front, taking everybody's picture. You spoil my moment, my experience. So tends to educate you about where you should be in the crowd. You should be in the crowd. You should be backstage. You're creating that moment of unexpected. I do not know what to expect until you open your mouth or the first musical note that you hear from us. So there is a place for tents. I can't say that I am going to be the ambassador to sell them forever, but I think that if the players above me understand what we bring to the table and not just House of Soca, it's always House of Soca, to all the tents and what they bring to the table, they will appreciate more the space for tents within this festival. And remember, no good music, no crop over, no kaduma there.
There's none of that. I think that's one thing that I really want to underscore this podcast is like the tents underscore all of that.
Yes.
All the Kadooment Day, all the crop over, all the events, all that type of stuff. Like that is the tents are so critical to that. So yeah, as you said, best song right to the festival. There's so much, just as you say, there's so much ground that we could cover. We have not been able to look at your origins, your starts, how the tents began, where you've taken it to where it is now. As you say, I don't want to make you go through the names because as you say, somebody watch the podcast and say, well, she ain't call me. I ain't hear my name. Well, she forget about me, but it's like so many people pass on the tent. But it's the same thing you talk about, the artist development happens under the tent. So I remember a couple years back, like Mikey won. I think it was Party Month. This is years ago.
Yes, it was Party Month at Botanica Garden.
Yes. he want, and somebody was like, well, I ain't heard that song. He's like, oh my queuing, why I had this song to win and all that. And it's like, yes, crowd control, our crowd response is a factor, but it's like he fulfilled all the things that the judges were looking for. And that came out for under the 10 in dealing with people were like, I remember this Bacchanal in the year.
Yes.
Mikey got a section back there that court ski and I can't understand that and to do the dog. And it's like he would have learned how to do that for the 10. The 10 would have taught him this is the sponsor, this is you could do whatever you want, use the artists, you could all of that aspects of artist development happen under the 10s.
Yes.
So the final product that people see doesn't just appear out of thin air. Like,
if I could summarize maybe quickly, because I know how we start in January with auditions. And I see a lot of the other tents doing it, even Stray Cats, not like she say even Stray Cats, but all the tents I see doing it. And audition means that not that we saying that you ain't good enough, you know, let's hear the material.
Right.
You really don't want to go into a tent and hear everybody singing about crime and violence in Barbados. And you really don't want to go into a thing and hearing everybody saying about 30 love from the political aspect of it. So you're listening now to hear critically what lyrical content you can bring to the table. You bring in a show. So you look at listening. So that's auditions. And then after auditions, you know, you got, as it's a re-audition because you go away. You got January. So you go away. We go down to Trinidad, as I said, in February. This is House of Soca now. And then we come back in March. And so we say to you, come back. We bring a panel. I bring a journalist. I bring a DJ, musicians, because the DJ gonna say to me, that ain't gonna play.
Right.
I ain't care how anybody say it. And sometimes it's nice then to see that a person will come and sing with their eyes closed. And I'm thinking to myself, was that a moment you were having? And the person, no, that's how I sing. But you ain't gonna connect with my audience.
So exactly.
You gone. So that happens in March. And then it starts from there that you start then rehearsals. Or scheduling. If it's the junior aspect, then that's developmental, where we start mentorship programs. We start then educating you about clothing, use of stage, use of mic techniques, because a lot of young people do this. And you muffle that, and then you say, well, nobody hear what
nobody hear you, exactly.
But you can't, because your mic technique off. Or you may be talking and you haven't learned, you think because you have a mic, you don't have to project. Or you may start to say, well, every week my throat does hurt me, but you're not singing from your diaphragm. You're singing from your throat. So it's only obvious, and this is your instrument. Just like the saxophone or the guitar, your voice is your instrument. So we got to tell you how to take care of it. Certain products that you can or cannot eat. Milk and orange juice and all those things bring mucus on your voice. Now, you home making 2 little beats. You think you understood all of that?
No.
No.
You ain't think about any of that.
You ain't think about nothing like that. So you come out and you sound good this year, and then next year, you're gone by the wayside because you damage your voice, shouting at every fete that you get on because you had a hit. You had something that we call the hit. So you at every fete, but you never learned to take care of your instrument. So like a saxophone, you can mash up.
You lick out,
You lick out, it's done with. So as I said, so that goes to the March. April now, rehearsals. So you got to organize your life. So you're taking you to the life skills. Because if you don't organize your life and your rehearsal time is 7:05 and you turn up at 8 o'clock, if we let you do that, it's a domino effect. Somebody else may be working. Somebody else Ramesses may now come in from doing an event or something, and you've messed up his time. Or you know, something like that. So you have to learn time management. And all of that is taught in a tent. And then, you know, it's execution time.
Yeah.
So we open, as I said, on Sunday. And once we open, then you got to bring what you learned. So did you learn anything? Because not everybody's learning the same pace. So you bring that to stage. And that first tent is when the media is out there. But it doesn't mean that you have learned everything. It's like getting a driver's license. It's get it. But then you've got weeks before you could drive. You know, before you could take that 10 to 2, and you play driving with one hand, is times after that. So that is where the tent comes in. And each and every week that we operate, somebody said, well, if you say you're making a lot of money while you're operating, but each week we are allowing you a chance to improve your skill before that judging night, where we are now the national festival. We are the preliminaries for the national festival. So that is what we work towards. So you see, I just tried to summarize it.
Yeah, that is, no, because it's, again, there's so much ground that we missed, like, with regards to the importance of tents, we've covered the importance of tents, but the way that the sponsorship landscape has shifted, and that this is a passion project for you that you invest a lot of your time, your energy, your resources into, and it's like, if there's always this, people say things about like the internet, you will have the whole internet and it's held in the middle by a little block.
Yeah.
So then it's like, what happens if that little block goes, you know? So if that disappears, how does the landscape shift? And I think that is the fear I have personally. What will happen with tents should the landscape shift? And it's like, what will the type of music that we start to put out look like? How will we be competing on a national level, far less regionally, far as the music that goes overseas to the different areas? So,
well, you just sparked an interest there with me, because I thought, no, I'm here thinking, Randy Eastman, he brought a tent this year.
Quantum Productions, yeah. Quantum. I don't know why I don't know.
Right, it's called Rhythms of Legacy. And, I'll give kudos. If you didn't think that there was a need for children or younger people to have a space to have a voice, he wouldn't have a tent.
No.
So it means that I have a 30-member cast, and I have to have a separate 19-member development program for my juniors. A lot of the other tents I saw taking juniors. So take the tents, eliminate them, because we don't miss the water to the well run dry.
Amen.
Eliminate the tents. Where those young people going?
Yeah.
And we have to have a succession plan, because without them having anywhere, what are we putting out there globally? What are we putting out there? What can the DJs that are out there playing, like the Puffies and them, what can they play? Yeah. What quality music can they play if we don't have anything? So you have to start somewhere. It is not everybody that has to be in a tent, but I think the tent has a place for developing our art form. So a lot of people that don't come in the tents, don't hear it, and as you say, they're in that little square or that circle where they say, oh, the music ain't good this year, or I ain't hear this, or they only play that. But there's music for commercial value.
Yes.
There's music for the social and economical landscape, because we got to remember archival purposes.
True.
So when you hear something like Boots, you know that what was happening at the time in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
That gives you the history of what going on.
Yeah.
So when somebody says something like 30 Love Again in 20 years, they go to 30 Love Again. What did that mean?
Yeah.
Wait, something happened with 30 Love? Yeah. It was a football game? It was a tennis match? No, it was what happened at the political landscape in Barbados at the time. So we have to have somewhere for us to have archival purposes. If not, we're selling out we soul. We're losing who we are.
Yeah, because then without any direction, people just sing everything about what's going on. Like, have songs about Maduro. The same thing you talk about with Boots. You had that with Mr. T. You had that with Jack. You had that with all of those type of stuff. So yeah, but I want to thank you, Sharon. We could go on and on and on and on and on and on.
So I was just getting passionate.
No. We could get very passionate. We could go on for a whole hour on a conversation just about tents, but I want to thank you. I'm starting to suspect that I really will have to listen to you and have you back on, because it's like, there's just so much of an understanding, and I hope that the podcast begins to create an appreciation for tents and the work that they do behind the scenes within the festival. So,
well, I thank you for bringing this light to light. And my final words would be that, listen, folks, it's nice to hear it on a podcast, but let me bring the podcast to the tent.
Yes.
So let me see you at Derek Smith some night.
Yes.
Let me talk to the artists, because I think if you're the guy passionate, talk to a Diane, talk to a Quinn. Those people that have been with me on a lot of these cultural journeys, they can tell you some rules. They got the passion for this. And let them tell you what experiences they've had. And some of them came to me. All right, let me just digress one moment. My drummer came to me at 15 years old. You know Naldo?
Yes.
When Naldo came to me, he did not even own drums. And Pernell said to me, Sharon, we got a drummer straight out of school. We want to keep him guided. We want to keep him focused. What can you do? I said, bring him. First rehearsal, I said, young boy with the drums. Just like that. I don't have any. So I rented drums for the night session. And what I admired about his mother and our band leader now, they put together and they bought him drums. You know, right now they're teaching, he playing all over.
You remember
teaching drums.
The same thing you talk about. He went viral a year. Like, yes.
So if we didn't have that space for him to play, because we talk about artists, but we ain't going to talk about musicians. Each tent has a 10-member band. So each tent, so you have 6 or 7 tents now, that's 7 drummers. Where would the Bonitas be? Where would the Ryans be? You can't got space for them.
No, you're right. Because
And we ain't got the bands that we used to got before.
no, we
so
don't even.
that is
We can go down the road because no, it's like and people don't understand it until they want a live band.
Yeah.
So the cast in the boat looking, I need a drummer, I need a this, I need that. I want because you could take all them and put them together.
Yes.
But you see when a band could play together, they know one another and things like that. When like I've seen Mikey show the reunion.
Yes.
There was something that happened where the music failed and instantly the band switch on. Instantly.
Yes, because as you say, the cohesiveness,
Yeah.
you've worked together.
You would have
and that's
had
what you
it
get.
under a tent. But again, we could go on. We could go on and on and on. Yes. I would definitely will need to have you back. We need to continue this conversation.
It's a pleasure being here.
Yes. Thank you so much. So, but just to wrap up, Derek Smith.
Yes, indeed.
Every Saturday.
No, every Sunday.
Every
for
Sunday.
now. We're doing Sunday the 7th, the 14th, and the 21st.
Yes.
Those are the people that got a lot to do on a Saturday.
Yes.
And then on the 27th, we switch to Saturdays.
Yes.
Then our junior show is a Friday night because that's the end of school, July the 3rd. For all the school children to come out. We have a junior MC as well. Come out, support your own. Lots of giveaways for the children there. Come up, spin the wheel and grab whatever you get. And then our judging night is July the 9th at UE Tent.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Under that marquee.
Yes, under that marquee. You have a full schedule again this season. So yes, but this is something more we will explore as the season goes on. So thank you. I cannot thank you enough at all.
Thank you. And as I said, let the show begin.
Yes. That was Sharon from House of Soca. You can find them on Instagram at The House of Soca. And up next, we have Scott and Ryan from Stained. And you can find them online at Stained, STAIND Okay, so today we're here with Scott from Stained. You know, it's a brand new 4-day experience event. So I want to talk to you all about Stained and what it is that the brand is, what it is that patrons can expect, what it is new that you're looking to bring to the 4-day experience. So this is August the 1st, right?
That's right.
In the wee hours of the morning.
Wee hours in the morning, you know, we got people up bright and early, out to have a good time, man.
Yeah. So what can people really expect? What can people look forward to from Stained?
All right, so what can people look forward to from Stained? So ideally, what we came to market now to bring was more of a cultural experience, obviously blending it so now with Juve. So I think as a collective, we as a group saw that, you know, it was kind of imperative almost to really solidify Bajan culture in the event, right? So with that in mind, we sought out to say like, all right, hey, how can we do this in a Juve? You know, how can we really kind of bring that experience in there? So what then is the aim is to kind of mesh it now with all like folklore, you know, from Barbadian society. And also to like, ain't just being like a history lesson, you know? So it's like, you're having fun, but still it's like, a little touch of heritage. Either you might got, you know, people from a demographic who may not have necessarily like remember that, or you got persons, you know, who know it and it was like, that was a nice touch. I like how, you know, y'all blended that in there.
That's good because it's not always the angle that you get from some event doing 4-day that giving you that 4-day experience.
Yeah, correct. So we saw it as important and we was like, we can bring it to the market.
That's I think that's quite impressive. So tell me about the directors behind Stain and then how do y'all decide to come together to create this brand?
All right, so the directors behind Stain, we pretty much come from all walks of life, man. You know, we definitely bring experience from, you know, different markets, different perspectives and everything, and kind of that's just a culmination, like a melting pot in terms of, you know, the ideas and the vision that we had for it. Funny enough, this all then, where we decided we were actually going to go through with this was over some sauce and a bottle of Old Brigham. That was how it was, man. in the beautiful parish of St. John. I know a certain director can link that one for sure. But yeah, so there is where, we really locked in and said, yeah, let's do this. So
this is the very first year for Stains.
this is the very first year for Stains. Obviously, but just to add, we started last year with a cruise, man, in terms of the trip
really?
itself. Yeah.
Oh, yes. In December.
In December. That was on the Dream Chaser too. Yeah.
So you
can also look out for another cruise this year.
That was just about to ask. How would you do that?
No, I had you here.
Okay, so the brand is looking to evolve then both in crop over and outside of crop over.
Exactly.
That's good. That's fantastic. And you have partnered with Vida by a Square?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, that's good. Because obviously you had the launch, you debut the costumes, you debut the brand new Foreday morning experience.
Yeah. And we saw it as important to also partner with other brands as well. So, once you following the page and stay tuned, you definitely will notice that and see who else is involved in terms of making this, a reality.
So where can people find you on the digital landscape?
Definitely find us on IG, of course. Everyone is on Instagram. You'll find us there.
What's your ad?
That ad is Stained.
Stained. Okay, that's good. So I think that Stained it's very exciting as a brand because it's like the Foreday experience is always shifting around. So new players come in, old players move out. So it's like I think that it's good that people now have a lot more diversity in the market with regards to Foreday.
Yeah, you give people options. But like I said, the key thing for us was definitely the cultural aspect. We really wanted to pay homage to Barbadian heritage with this.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people have the concern that when events move out from the Foreday morning itself under the NCF banner, that is going to be just they see it as I guess a kind of foreign intervention, other people getting involved.
Yeah.
But it's not usual that you hear a brand coming to input specifically into saying we want to really solidify our brand around Bajan culture, Bajan heritage, and really put that out there to people. Because often some people have felt that it seems like a cash grab from brands coming into the market. So but you would say that definitely staying, not going in that direction. You definitely making sure to hold fast to Barbadian culture.
And I mean, stay tuned. You never know in future posts. You might see collabs with certain players. So let's see.
I'm very, very excited. Very excited because I think that it's really good that they have new shifts, new faces in the market. And I like the way that you've gone outside the crop over too as well. So you do another cruise in December too?
Yeah, this December you can look out for another cruise.
That's good. That's good. That because you don't want it to feel like actually you just appear in the festival.
Yeah.
You say, come jump with me, and then you disappear. The brand goes silent for a whole year, that type of thing. That's good.
That's not the case. We definitely want to also listen, I would say, to like our patrons in terms of like kind of honing in on like feedback and just really kind of like solidifying that experience. Because I find like sometimes, that doesn't always happen per se.
Yeah, no, you don't always. People don't always, as you say, brands aren't always open to listening to that type of feedback.
And I mean, it's tricky because obviously, like, you have your idea in terms of what you want, and then persons have their ideas. So then how do you kind of balance it too? I do feel as though like, there is a balance that could be fun.
Okay, so people would get all the information on your social media. They sign up on social media, everything like that.
Correct, yeah.
That's perfect. And it's
and I mean, those who know me, if you can't find the information on there, you could reach out and I will gladly help you.
That's either you, the directors, you have committee members too as well, yeah?
Yeah. We have a long list of committee.
A long list of committee members.
For sure.
No, yeah. I'm, again, like I said, I'm very interested to see what it is that you bring because there's a lot of stuff in the market. And then the way that, as you say, you begin to work alongside other brands.
Yeah. I think that's important because I feel as though that everyone can work together in terms of making specifically the crop over on a whole, you know what I mean, better.
Yeah. I think that's a good, very, very, very good mindset to have. Today we're here with Ryan Ford, the Ryan Ford. We're wearing the hat of Stain today.
That's right.
You wear so many hats,
Yeah, a hat is a hat.
You're a popular man. I want you to tell me about Stain because I know that, again, as you wear many hats, what made you decide to come up with this?
Well, I didn't actually come up with it. I mean, the general public would see me a lot from personal work, from charity work, etc. and think so. But no, I'm one of three people that are directors of Breakfast, the Beijing Experience. And we were actually approached by Scott, Damien, Chris, Kareem, and they came up with the concept. They wanted to do a juve, they wanted to do this, etc. And, you know, for us from Breakfast, we've been around for 10 years. That Sunday morning, we don't do it for to try to be competitive with anyone. Like, we always see more events coming, just like we came out and we became quote unquote competitive for other people out there before. But we just wanted to complement the festival. Like, I keep repeating that. We just wanted to add to it. So when we looked at it, we were like, okay, well, you know, what y'all trying to do? And they were like, oh, you know, we want to do this, we want to do that. And we were like, okay, well, first of all, you got to build up the brand, etc. Hence why we did a cruise first. So we realized that in December we could do something. So I used to do a little fun thing just for my friends called Bashi Grinch.
Yeah.
I said, I ran 5 years. Let me pause that and let me do this cruise. And then let's give it some thought. Do y'all want to do very cultural or you want to do anything? And they said, nah, we want to do very cultural, but still give blessings to the Caribbean. And we said, okay, cool. Well, our age group ain't really getting to private jumps outside the season. So let's look at crop over weekend, because obviously myself and some other cousins and stuff, we have the Kadooment band, and people are always asking us at the Kadooment band, do y'all have a Foreday? What other events?
People ask me that.
Yeah, and they always ask us what other events to go to. So
The umbrella, that's true.
exactly. So typically from like Wednesday or Thursday, most of our guests, whether returning nationals, visitors, or our local following, would ask us or say what events we go into from Thursday onwards. So they land Wednesday, they want to do Thursday, or if they're here locally, they know what events they want to go to. So we were like, okay, well, you know, we have something now that you could go to, which is myself and the other side of the family. And we said we would do that. So when we made the decision to go into the final weekend of Crop Over, the idea was, okay, so are we going into Bridgetown or do we want to do something privately?
Right. Yeah.
And we started discussing, I think Scott would have said in another part of the episode, he would have said, you know, we doing it privately. Okay, cool. So we asked the committee, and we got a lot of committee. And they were like, yeah. And that was the reality. A lot of people that we wanted to sell to or to be involved in the experience, we decided to do it. And then the other reason too that Breakfast got involved is because the people who approached us have been supporting us since year one when we were in Fisher Pond. They went Fisher Pond, Villanova. They went up to Farley Hill twice with us. They went up by Monique Hines' house up in St. John twice. So if you go look at it, right, and which people don't understand, is support. Hence why I support you yourself with your podcast and show. I know you from birth, and it's mutual. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like you don't really make enough money from hosting events in Barbados to live. It's a very high cost destination. So obviously you have to get into your other specialties of where your profession takes you. So why do we do it for 10 years plus? Because we love it. We want to add to the festival. So when we were being approached by somebody who has come to our events, sometimes we did 2 or 3 events a year, by 10 years, we're almost at 30 events, because some years we didn't do so many events in a year. Then how can I turn around and tell them, no, I'm not going to support you on your venture? So make it make sense. So I don't mind the noise. This is where we at.
I know. I like the background, the story, like even the way that you interlink it with Breakfast. You know, as you say, as 10 years, and it's good that you give a leg up to other brands. You say, okay, you know, I see where you want to go. Let me help you with development of this. Like, are you going to go here? Do you want to do this? What is that? Who are you looking to reach? That type of stuff. Because my questions that I forgot to ask Scott was about the target market. Like, what's your demographic? Like, are you reaching out to them? So all of that, it really does paint a good picture of the landscape. And as you say, willing to work with other brands and create other stuff. Because I know Scott is also a promoter too as well, to be able to see him not as competition, but as collaboration. That you could say, how can we work together? How can we create something that's greater than the sum of our parts? You know, it's like, how can we do something different in the market? It's like we coming into this space. Like, some would become intimidated by that because it's like, it's a whole set of other bands, there's a whole set of other brands in this space. how do I successfully navigate that without being washed out, without being pushed out, without feeling as though I can fail, that type of stuff. But approaching it head on, approaching it with confidence, and taking, as you say, the experience that you would have with breakfast for 10 years, the experience you would have with other brands, the experience you would have with your own personal brands like Bashi Grinch, and inputting that into something that you've never gone into before. So I think that's really
mean, the reality is if we try to kill each other's brands all the time, the
fight
festival
like dogs.
itself is gonna dead, and then you gonna struggle. So and that's the reality. So like within our whole ecosystem of staying is that we are going to other person's events who, you know, want to build their brands. And these are people that are in the mid-20s and all the way up to the mid-30s. And then we still have some other people who are in their 40s and their 50s reaching out. And that was the same thing we did with the Kadooment Band, is that, and with Breakfast as well, we wanted to be able to accommodate all. We didn't want you to feel like, oh, that's an old people fat, or that's a young people band.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We wanted it to kind of mimic what we see overseas, where you can see your uncle and aunt, or it could be older cousins, younger cousins, because people are continuing. But what we found 10 years ago was that as our peers were getting older, they say, I can't deal with that sun. I ain't getting on the road. I can't deal with that paint. I ain't getting into no Foreday. I can't go to that breakfast party. I can't go to that all-inclusive again. And we were like, okay, apart from cost or a location or whatever, how can we make people feel value to want to come and enjoy our festival more? And we were like, okay, well, let's pair with different people and give them the experience that they go back and talk. When you look at a fete like Bliss and you turn around and see a 25-year-old in there, why? Because they have some younger people that are on the committee.
Yeah.
They come and experience it and show it and say, you know what? This is the value for my $300 whatever dollars it is. You know what I mean? And that's the same thing that we're doing for Stain as we did with other events. We didn't say, oh, Luke got a fete or Luke got a band. Let me go and compete with it. Let me kill it. I can tell everybody, blah, blah, blah. You got to come on and telling different committee and different models, you could only work for us. Now, you know, that's that kind of...
That is, the market is...
You know, we ain't even going to touch on that.
That's not even...
But that is happening.
A whole podcast with itself.
Like. Exactly. So we were like, yo, you know what? Are you working with anybody? No, not really. Okay, well, would you like to work with us? Let's build up. What are the events you have? We literally just looked at 2 people who are on our committee, had their own events. 2 other people who are not on our committee but have been supporting Breakfast. These 4 people all have their own events. And what did we do? We picked a DJ and we said, okay, for the next 2 months that y'all have your 4 events, we will sponsor the DJ and we will also send some of our promo ladies and let them hand out whatever paraphernalia you have. The reason being is we wanted to make sure their event is a success and at the same time market our own event. And we picked the DJ that, you know, obviously is that I can big out all the time, you know, full clip, SMS finest. So that's literally what we did for the last couple of months. And from the time we did events, full clip support. And full clip, when they came out, support. Them's the first people I ever do a mix with in my life.
Really?
Yeah. Them, I went by them, do my first mix individual. To me, it's a awakening experience, but it hit hard.
Yeah. No, it's good to hear that, because again, that you're doing here always to give back. And the same way that we would have spoken to Sharon earlier and spoken about artist development, you don't get promoted development, or you don't get, as you say, it could be the industry and the landscape could be very, very cutthroat. It's like, oh, he going down there. I want he use my trucks.
Yeah.
I want he use my DJ. I want he use my tent. I want he use my decking. You know, I want he use this location. I can call it and book it before, so you can't use that, even though I ain't want it. Yeah. So when coming out a week before, I can cancel it, and anybody.
This happened to you, because this is a common thing. I mean, that's the reality. I can't go and fight on nobody for their things. If you say yes, then I stick to yes. If you say no, then okay, cool. I go another route. But, you know, within the festival itself, there's a lot of rumor growing all the time. And there's a lot of people that should know better. But at the same time, like for me, like earlier in the season, you know, things come out, things post, things say this. And you take a step back and you're like, why? Yeah. Because say you kill me and any brands that I am involved in, you know, take, you know, 3, 4, 5 brands that people love. Whether you love them or not, it don't make a difference. People love them. So you take me out, somebody else has to replace me. And what are you going to do? Do the same thing to them?
Yeah, exactly. You're going to take them out. It's like, how big do you want to swell out to? You know, it's like, How, as you said, when that avenue is gone, they don't automatically come over to you. You know, they
don't.
go elsewhere. They might
Exactly.
even say, "Oh, Barbara,
Or they
they're
might
saying
start
nine."
saying.
They might start signing as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing about staying. I remember Chris, one of the other directors, he was saying we were trying to figure out like taglines and like funny jingles and stuff, and he said, it's very difficult. He said along these lines don't work for it, but it's very difficult to get rid of a stain. And that's literally what we wanted to do with the culture, because a stain is not always something I can make jokes. Like I said, well, you're a shirt, you know what I mean? As in like that print is now a stain on the fabric, and you can't get rid of that print and go back to all white or all black shirt. So literally from the stain experience is that this is the cultural experience we want to bring to our private juve on Foreday morning and showcase. And I mean, I think we are now at the stage, I think as of last week or week before, we were saying publicly we will come out and talk a little bit more of what you plan to see.
Yeah.
So obviously, as you know, Rhythm Tribe is going to be about their heaviest ever. Just as long as I know you, I know Aisha, and anything she got, I support, and that's straight off the bat. So those ladies and gents, they're going to be there. And you know what? Something that we grew up knowing about during the hard times, what's happening with hard times? Mr. Harden. So yeah, so this is the first time publicly we've spoken about it. And we are going to bring back an element of
I'm
burning.
sorry. Wait. Wait.
Yeah, shake the table. Shake the table.
Like, wait.
Shake the table.
I've not heard this outside of. I mean, I had. You kind of
You want some water?
Yeah. You kind of knocked my socks off because I've had private interactions with a filmmaker who wanted to do that. Brendan Mr. Harden. So you are the first commercial entity I've heard come up with that. Like we've never. You've like people have spoken about it since that stopped since what 84, 83?
Yeah.
So like we've not seen it since then.
At the end of the day, some people is have Top Band, is have Landship, is have Mother Sally, the Green Monkey, Shaggy Bears, they have everything that is part of our culture. So what is wrong with us doing it as well? You know what I mean? I know some people they want stage at the start. I don't remember stage when I was a youngster crossing a stage, but at the same time, it does add value to the road experience. For us, we were like, okay, well, we're going to do that and other things.
Yeah.
In the future, we will be playing on some of our heroes and how do we get them into the actual jump? How can somebody see somebody like Bassa walking around on a 4-day private jump and seeing of somebody's face like Bassa, and you wondering like what's the story of Bassa? So that's kind of where we wanted to go when I asked them from a cultural experience, what's different from breakfast, from how we do it. How are we gonna do it for a private jump juve? And literally that's just a little taste of what like we're trying to do. You know what I mean? So we said that as of June, we will start to talk a little bit more of what we want to do and what we want to add to the festival.
I think that's good. It's very important because again, and that this is the whole reason behind the podcast. We want to be able to shed light on brands in this type of way to give them a voice that, because you could get so much on social media, but then there's so much going on, especially with Crop Over, especially outside of Crop Over. You got 1,000,001 reels and different TikToks calling for your attention. So you might not necessarily see a staying reel. You might not even see a Bazzi reel, but with the podcast, we want to hope to have that conversation that you can have this one-stop shop for the festival. You could come, you could look and see, yes, this is what's going on. This is what this brand is doing. This is what they're bringing this year. This is what to expect from them. This is the vision that they have. It's like, will they do it? Will they not do it? Okay, they did do it. I want to see what they bring next year. I want to see what they bring the year after. I want to be able to jump with them. I want to go to this party. This sounds good. That's the entire vision. That's the entire mindset that we have, because we really don't have spaces like that that provide that for events. Because you could look at the calendar, it's just sheeting down with events, and it's like, where do I go? Where do I look?
An capacity calendar long.
You know how many people will message me and I'm like, what event to go to? And I'm like, I don't want to touch that. I don't want to tell you. I don't want people like calling for us to comment openly at it. I don't want to touch that. But if we could give like various events, obviously we can't touch on everybody. If we could give everybody a space to be able to have a conversation with their brand, and especially brands who know what it is that they're doing, who have a specific outlook. And this stuff may only exist internally between you, Scott, the team. But it's like, if you have an avenue to be able to bring that out, that is what we want to capture.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to do that. And I also think like support wise, like if you were to bring, say, Sanita and Rhea here and they got We Thing, some of the people that used to always go to breakfast, and we have a special bond and friendship and relationship that anything they got, we can support. Anything that we have, they can support. And the same thing with Dario, with Burgess.
Yeah.
I remember Dario used to be asking me, can you help me get Bliss tickets? Can you help me get Cooler Vibes tickets? Blah, blah, blah. And to this point now, I go ask Dario for tickets.
Yeah.
You know, he's a big promoter now.
Like,
you know what I mean? Out to
Jesus.
tomorrow. So,
God, have mercy.
so I mean, it's great to see that amongst our friends circle that they've grown. If you look at somebody like, say, Justin King, for example, used to play football with him at Paradise. Justin now has evolved from doing those fets he did with Renee Nelson and then Renee Nelson himself as a large producer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So all of those guys have now grown to another level.
Evolve and
if you
change,
take Cooler Vibes as well, the first time I got involved with any events here was helping them on marketing and trying to source DJs and these people and stuff like that. And that was when it was done at Naniki, Uncle Tom's, Uncle Tom's property. So, and then it went from there into a cruise. And I remember Alain told me one time, come with him, and it was myself, Usani, God rest his soul, and Makeup. And we went to, what's it called? Puffer Color's last event on Harbor Master. That is by far the best Juve that I've been to and the best cruise that I've ever been to in my life. And then that was the last one.
That was the last one. People talk about that. Like, as you say, this is a real...
Yeah.
Some people say it's an old head conversation. That cruise that they had, that's when Puffer Color was. And then the event that they had the first time down was that down Carlisle Bay. Not Carlisle Bay, Carlisle House.
Oh, yeah. Where Jolly Roger used to board.
Yes.
Yeah. And they had the blowouts. But it's the same thing with all the reason I mention them is because they've all started as a boutique event. Not to compete with somebody, but to complement the festival.
Exactly.
So from a staying perspective, we're actually doing a small boutique cultural curated experience. And because of that, we're not trying to chase the 2,000, 3,000 and try to clash nobody that sort of way. What we want to do is make it comfortable, full of vibes and some kind of cultural education through the characters, through the food, through the music and the performances. So that is what staying is all about. And the reason why it's not just staying and it's staying experience is because the experience is going to be staying in your memory for a lifetime. And that's the whole vibe around it.
You and Chris really come up with the tagline.
Chris run with it for sure, but he's one man. When he back in the island, he can be right here in front of his mic and his camera.
Staying the experience. I like, that it now makes sense again. The genesis of the name and everything like that, and what it is that you're hoping, the legacy, I guess, that you type to leave. Because it's like, just as you mentioned, I remember years going to Bliss, people coming in there with paint behind the ears.
Me included.
Exactly. You got to learn this here ain't coming out, but you got to go down to Bliss. So I do I do appreciate the way that you would have named the event, the way that the team has come together to create something new, and then the ideology behind the brand and the way that you work together, because the same thing you talk about with how you expect Stain to be is the same way that you would have brought across Vida by Esquire to me. Like the experience, you're looking for the road, you weren't looking for the biggest band ever that swamped the whole road. You don't want like a Poison or something like that stretching. You just want something that's comfortable.
Nightmare.
It's hard. I tell people that. And people say, you want the most people? No. I'm a section sellout, that's it. I don't want to hear nothing else, because it's like, as you say, it becomes logistically, it becomes this body want this and this body want that. But I do like, as you say, you want the comfortability. You want it to be able to appeal to all age ranges. You want to, people, because as you say, I often hear older people saying, I can't think in the festival, it is a young people thing. But then I would see a video online for Dominica from Trinidad. 70, 80-year-olds jumping out in front of that.
Still doing
it. Like there's no age limit to this. So it's like, for people who want to go on the road, you should be able to feel, whether this is Kaduma, whether it's Foreday morning, you should be able to feel safe. You should be able to feel comfortable. You should be able to feel my needs will be catered to, and it's not some kind of grab and dash type of thing where it's like, put you just in the costume in your hand, you go on about your business, go and have a good time, good luck to you type of thing. It's like, you are catered to, you are seen, and you are celebrated, and you are being able to be taken care of by the band. You have the experience, and it's something that is not just a one and done where I got you money, you had a bad time, bustler. Is that, yes, we want to cultivate a good time. You have a good time. This was a great experience. I want to come back next year.
Yeah.
I want to be able to tell my friends, and I don't want to feel as though this is so good, and they tell people they're gonna come and the band gonna be burst. Is that it will always remain at a set level because you want to be able to highlight just what it is that you want to be able to celebrate people in a way that makes them feel comfortable, and that it isn't.
Yeah. And for them to also kind of speak about it organically, let them experience it, not because we force it down their throat. Like, there's so many things that we want to do, and some of it we have to say, okay, well, let's do a little bit this year.
Yeah.
Keep the idea, let's do it next year and add on and change. I mean, for us to be around 10 years in our big brother organization called Bliss, for them to be around 20 plus years, you have to be doing something. It's the same thing with VXC. Like, we came out as being two different sections, a square in Cosa, Vita in Beige. And Beige was around 20 something years. So they had to do something right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Cosa brought the party vibes, and a square bringing the service. So how do we kind of incorporate that vibe? You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with Stain. Like, what we literally want to do is have that boutique experience and let it just grow organically. I mean, for the cruise, I remember we were at, I think it was about 14 ticket sales. And Chris was nervous. I said, Chris, November is the new crop over. You gotta pass November. You gotta pass DV, big up DV and Soca and all the others, the Wasted and all of them, because they're all partners of ours. And like, once you pass DV, watch and see what happened. As soon as we done DV, we had about 14 days before our cruise. We went to 500 plus people easily so. You know what I mean? And that was the first time we ever did a cruise under the brand Stain. And people are calling for us to bring it back. Do one in crop over. And we're like, nah.
Let's just
you know what I mean? Pace yourself. Don't overdo it.
The thing is just, you can have a good time. We good to go.
It's a vibe. So yeah.
I want to thank you so much, Ryan, for joining me on this conversation today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Anytime you was beer kicks.
I know you flying out, you're doing this.
I hear.
Got so many different things.
I ain't an IG body. I hear. I flying out.
So yeah, I really appreciate the conversation. I do look forward to staying on the road this year.
Yeah, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. And thanks for all the good work you do with Basity as well, too, because I know we're wrapping up, but a point I've always made is that if you want to look at Luke Lascaris, the controversial person, poking the bear on purpose on Twitter, on X, he doing it on purpose, But the reality is that if you look at what Basity has done for our culture, I think people have not given enough credit to that. And I will always say, when we want to learn about our Black history and we want to learn about the colonials coming here and doing certain things, and then we retaliating and doing certain things, you ain't going back to secondary school to learn it. Exactly. Basity is literally bringing out these facts. But if Basity was a foreign company doing it and saying all of these things, people would love it. You know what I mean? So I think we also have to not only focus on the party side of Basity, but on the history and the culture and all of that connections that you've brought. And that is something that, I love to see history. So I think you got to take a lot of pride when it comes to what you've accomplished. And for all of us that are in the entertainment world, we got to say thank you for that. Of course, you got to still not give us licks on on X. But we still got to appreciate what is being done for the festival, because you're not a promoter, you're not a band, you're not a supplier for infrastructure, but you have an area in the media world that looks at history, current, and where we're taking it in the future. So respect for that.
I appreciate that. I'm glad that, as you say, somebody is able to see and appreciate the vision and see the broader landscape and not just reduce it down to a calendar or to like fact coverage and stuff like that. Because it's like, there's so much to, and we spoke about this before with House of Soca, there's so much to Bajan culture, that people, they just escape so many people just because it's a simple lack of knowledge and it's a lack of not knowing where to begin, not knowing where to look. As you say, they're not going back to secondary school. They're not picking up a book to read it. It's like, you don't even know what book to pick up to read about what subject. And there's so much that's just hidden away. So if we could just take it and package it out nicely.
It's just like rumors, when one person hear rumor and spread it, all of a sudden it become true. So if they don't know the true history of something and then they take it and run with it. The younger people coming out are gonna believe it and run with that.
Okay.
But we gotta remember too, crop over is only a quarter of our year.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? The festival literally is only for 25% of our year.
Exactly.
So what else is going on in our full year? And y'all are doing a great job with that.
I appreciate that. I
Hey, man.
really do appreciate
Shout out, mums.
that.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.